Ladies and gentlemen, today we just got some new data, and I have to be honest, I think we are witnessing the end of the Democratic Party. Now, as many of you may know, for years now across the country, moderate voters and conservative voters have been fleeing Democrat run states in droves. It's pretty much been a modern day political exodus. People are just sick of living under the tyrannical, incompetent rule of the Democrats. Taxes, high crime, homelessness, drug abuse, you name it, and the Democrat run states have got it. And so, as people across the country have fled these Democrat run hellholes, regarding population numbers, the blue states have been shrinking while the red states have been massively growing. And so, folks, this right here is the big problem for the Democrats. You see, every 10 years, the federal government conducts a national census taking inventory of everyone living in the country, and then, based on this new census information, we reapportion how many congressional seats each state gets, as well as how many electoral college votes each state gets. And so here's why the Democrats are panicking right now. Based on the rate at which people have been fleeing from these blue states, right now, when our next national census takes place in 2030, 5 years from now, it looks like the Democrats are going to be losing 12 of their congressional seats as well as 12 of their electoral college votes. And also, by the way, for every 1 point that the Democrats lose, the Republicans gain 1 point. So very quickly, that 12-point loss actually ends up becoming a 24-point margin. Now, there's a lot more information to break down here, but before we do, I want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news coverage, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. But okay, take a look at this. As things stand right now regarding congressional seats, it's looking like California will lose 4, Minnesota will lose 1, Wisconsin will lose 1, Illinois will lose 1, New York will lose 2, and Pennsylvania will lose 1. Meanwhile, Arizona will gain 1, Texas will gain 4, North Carolina will gain 1, and Florida will also gain 4. So folks, what do you notice? As we said earlier, the blue states are shrinking and the red states are growing, big time. And so here's the reality. What all of this means is that blue states have gotten so bad under progressive leadership that literally hundreds of thousands of people across the country have uprooted their lives and moved to red states. Pretty much every time someone rents a U-Haul truck in a blue state, you can make a safe bet that they're moving to a red state. Now, regarding this entire conversation, just yesterday afternoon, one of Bill Maher's guests actually had a great breakdown of all of this. Take a look.
So we poll this. They're leaving on cost of living. That's all part of it. They're leaving because they can't afford homes. And it's a huge, not just political problem, those numbers you just gave. After 2030, if that holds, a Democrat could win every state Kamala Harris won, win Michigan, win Pennsylvania, and I'm just blanking on the third blue wall state, win Michigan, win Pennsylvania, and win Wisconsin, and lose the presidential election, right? The blue wall would no longer be enough for them to win. And you have to take that.
You mean they could win those 3 states and still
lose the presidential. That's how bad it is, right?
Wow.
And that's because they are driving people out, working class families out of the states that they govern, because the cost of living is too high. And the cost of living is too high in part for regulatory reasons, in part for taxes. But the big problem is they just don't have enough of the things people need. Not enough homes, not enough energy, not a government capable of delivering. And they've been treating that as not a real problem.
So folks, there you have it. If the Democrats can't solve this ongoing exodus, they're pretty much screwed forever. But you know what? While I agree with everything that guy said, I think he missed one very big part of this entire equation. You see, even if a state has affordable housing and affordable energy and low taxes, if that state has allowed hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants and homeless drug users and violent criminals to take over the streets, then none of that really matters. Even if you could hypothetically buy a mansion for $100,000 and your energy bills were next to nothing, if you don't feel safe walking around your own neighborhood, then what does it matter? Me personally, I'd rather live in a shed in a community full of nice, respectful people than in a mansion surrounded by illegal immigrants, drug addicts, and gang members. And so really, this right here is one of the massive issues that these blue states have to address. Because guess what? all of these blue states are also sanctuary states, which means that for years now, they've been turning a blind eye to all of this criminal behavior. And so, you know what? It's all of this stuff that we're talking about that has led to this situation. Take a look.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024 when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
So folks, there you have it. It doesn't really matter where you look. Right now, the Democrats are losing big time. But as we said earlier, unless the Democrats can figure out a way to stop the massive blue state exodus that's currently taking place right this very moment, they're not only screwed in the short term, but they'll literally have no future at all either. But you know what? As things stand right now, their future isn't looking bright. Just earlier today, in fact, a new Rasmussen poll came out which confirmed that the Democrats' national approval rating right now is at a staggeringly low 26%, which, by the way, is down from last week when it was 29%. I'm not joking when I say this, but somehow things just keep on getting worse for the Democrats. So as I said earlier, right now, the Democratic Party is pretty much facing a complete and total existential crisis. If they don't get their platform figured out and actually start providing results, positive results for the American people, they're going to be completely done for. The Democratic Party will completely implode, and in the future, the only time people will ever think about the Democratic Party is when they're reading through a history book. But you know what? All of this honestly serves them right because of all the insanity that they've tried to get away with over just the last couple of years. So hey, you know what? Between you and me, if the Democratic Party does end up completely imploding, I'm not exactly going to be shedding any tears. Now folks, before I wrap up with today's video, I want to say real quick that I've actually gone ahead and made a community Facebook page where I'll be posting additional news and updates as it relates to all of this stuff. So hey, if you guys use Facebook, check out the pinned comment down below and give that page a follow. But folks, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there, if you liked the video, that is. As I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.